Hi, it's Angela and Dwayne, and today we want to talk about how to recover from or repair from a difficult moment or conflict within your couple. So there's 5 steps. The first step is to, once the conflict is over, to really kind of enter into a repairing conversation. So many couples miss this step, and it's really important that you clean up after every difficult interaction.
Right.
That's the first step. The
Yeah,
second,
and that follow-up conversation that you're talking about, it's one of those things that has to happen. And if both partners realize that, then I think it will happen a lot more fluidly than getting to that space where one of the partners is like, we need to talk, right? Knowing beforehand that you're going to have a follow-up conversation makes that transition into that conversation just a lot more organic.
right. And it's helpful to have an agreement that this is how you're going to deal with every conflict in your relationship. The second point is to do so in a timely way. So lots of times we get stuck and we wait days to talk to each other. That is actually harmful to your relationship. And so I would say, within a couple of minutes or within a couple of hours, but absolutely no longer than 24 hours. That's the guideline that I would suggest.
Right, and the idea is a reasonable amount of time. So again, you're going to have to negotiate that within your couple, like what is reasonable. But the more time that elapses from a conflict or a blow up, even the more difficult it is to repair in general, and just the more damage it does to the couple and to us as individuals.
And one of the things that you'll see is resentment that surfaces when you're not cleaning up these difficult moments. The third step is a tough one also. It requires that you really look at your own behavior and decide how you participated in that conflict, and decide if you need to apologize, but definitely to acknowledge that part.
Right, and again, not the easiest thing in the world to do, particularly if you're stuck in that, well, I'm right and they're wrong. That has to just be let go of. And then you're paying attention to taking care of one another's feelings, right? Taking ownership is also something during that gap, like after the conflict has happened. You get to spend a little time in reflection, like what happened there? What was my part? That's the most important thing I think you're saying in this step, is that you need to be thinking about what was your part in the conflict, not like what did my partner do that caused this. Number 4.
The fourth step is to actually receive the acknowledgement from your partner. It can be a simple thank you, or it can be, that means a lot to me, something along this line.
Yeah, and I think if you just keep in mind the word grace. I don't use the word grace often.
It's a great
but
word.
You want to be graceful in the way that you receive the acknowledgement or the apology, and that just opens things up to be more connected.
And the fifth step is to do something fun and connecting, to move away from that experience, that difficult experience between you.
And again, that might not be easy, but once it's available as an option, it might become something quite easy to do. Like the more that we can be playful or silly as adults, the better off we are. And doing something together in that kind of fun, playful spirit is just another really good way to reconnect after a rift.
So just a couple of notes on what not to do. And this comes from a recent conflict between Dwayne and I. Some of the things that we are still working on. So things like, stay away from explanation. This is not part of repair, and it is not what you want to be doing at this point in the repair work. It gets you down a road that you don't want to go down, and it isn't going to be helpful.
Yeah, it's a rocky road. I've spent some time on that road. But the other thing is, I think, and maybe this is a gender thing, but who knows? I'm putting this out there sort of delicately. I think often us guys think that what is required or desirable is to explain, well, I did this because of X, Y, and Z. But that's not really what is important. There's a difference between explaining what you did and sharing your feelings. And we're going to really get more underneath that, and we'll talk about that in depth during the virtual couples workshop that we'll tell you a little bit more about. So stick around till the end of the video.
The other is, of course, this is a common one, is to not blame and to not point fingers at what the other person did. It's very tempting, and I struggle with this one, but it really doesn't work. And I see it not work every single time that I fall into that behavior. So that's an important one.
Right. And I think it's pretty simple. If you just look in the mirror and ask yourself, do I like to be blamed for something? The answer would be no. So then if you're blaming someone else, it's not a good, the dynamic is not really where you want it to be. And we did a video on responsibility and blaming in relationships. You can check that out as well.
And the last point is really about do not be tempted to go back into the problem that has escalated the conversation and made people feel hurt and upset. So don't enter back into the conversation of whatever it was, whether it's parenting or something the other person did that upset you. That you need to sort of leave that behind, and there are other ways to deal with that. It can be to have agreements about how to deal with those situations, and there's also a way to explain yourself if you want, as a couple, to really understand what happened. That's for another video, and there is a way to do that, but it doesn't belong in the repair conversation.
Right, and we'll be talking more in depth about that during the workshop in September. But yeah, it's important to realize, what is the objective? The objective is to repair, and unpacking what went on in that fight or that conflict is probably better left for another conversation after the repair has occurred, right?
Yeah, that's right. So this is really about soothing whatever feelings have come up, hurt, rejection, anger. It's really about taking care of the emotional side of the relationship, which is really important. And sometimes, we fall into not doing enough of that. And that is really what this video is about today.
Right. And it's just prioritizing your partner over anything else, right? Because so often what I like to call the three little misses are involved in these conflicts, right? Like misunderstanding, miscommunication, misinterpretation. So if you're really focused on making sure that, hey, let's clear this up in a reasonable amount of time, be able to acknowledge what your role is in the conflict, being able to accept the response, the apology, or the acknowledgement, you're going to put yourself in a much better position to come out of that together, right? And not being isolated and disconnected further.
Great. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please like the video and subscribe, and leave a comment as well.
Yep, we'd love to hear from you. Again, virtual couples workshop that Angela and I will be leading starts on the 17th of September, 6 Saturdays in September and October, 2.5 hours each Saturday. It's going to be awesome. Click the link below for more details on the workshop, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.